Okay, so I'm back on and seeing what we gather here. So I finally got on. It took me a little while, but I made it. I'm 6 minutes in. That's not bad. I did my. Oh yeah, I had prepared my thumbnail earlier, so that's about right. About 5 minutes in. Give me time to sort of fall in here. Okay. Yeah, this one was difficult. Gosh, I'm learning to have full work days. It's becoming round the clock here, so I'm having to go like create additional hours for the U.S. Try different time slots. Oh my gosh, the work is never gonna stop. There's no time to like breathe. Um, I've already been, of course, doing readings all day, and so I'm in the midst of creating. So they had me. Well, the spiritual guides had me create the thumbnail, and then I just kept going. I said, well, if you're gonna create the thumbnail and talk about, my expertise, I said I might as well add feedbacks. Well, anyway, I think that's what it's supposed to look like. Well, I placed the thumbnail, or I created thumbnails. Uh, I guess that's what you call them for my in Twitter and so forth. Okay. Anyways, I was this close to sharing link, so I'm getting to the point or part where I guess I would include links. I was like, well, if you're gonna share the thumbnail, like you want to ready to share a link? I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready to be found yet. And people are like, when are you going live so I can ask for some cards to be pulled for me? Yeah, I'd like to. I always share with like information, things I see, make predictions. I never share links or how to get in touch. So it definitely crossed my mind to do so earlier. It did earlier. I don't think I did it. So yeah, not yet. I still need to sort some things out. But I actually got in here like roughly 5 minutes earlier. I figured it'd take me about 5 minutes. Yep, I solved my solution because I can answer my readings via my phone. Yeah, which is nice. And give me a chance to talk a little bit. So I think that this next 3 hours, of course, I'm going to talk about the powers of the mind, no doubt. Like the things that you want for yourself. As they say, you can put that out there, but oh my gosh, the a client of mine, they sort of, I guess, in a psychic and spiritual sense, it's kind of, came in, like wearing clogs and just, coming in from out of the rain and marching you know, all over the floors, getting the floors muddy. And I'll explain. What do you want about now? Well, okay, so I talk about how in psychic readings we metaphysically attract and bring about certain predictions. Now, of course, this is so meticulous and so detailed the minutia of things. Like we learn how to bypass all of the metaphysical tripwires. However, you get clients, now I can say humans calling in, and they're like, you know, like like they want to feel it's been a while, you know. So they do it their way. It's like also all the things that the spirit world is saying. Well, you don't need to do that. Just set this aside. It's like, well, who's trying to be nice and yeah. It's like a little bit of villain. I've got my pride. And I said, okay. I learned from you know the deities and the ancestors, the deities, and the jinn and the grantor of wishes, and it's like okay, okay. And so all of that everything that they touched in. Okay, so there were universe that you don't have to bring in, and you don't have to like you know get bring other people in like the receptionist, and I said, just keep it between the two of you. No, no, I'm gonna say how I feel because it's me. I've got my pride. Did it, and it all came back around. I said, and this is why I was making suggestions not to touch the wall, not to touch anything. We just need to go through the path, get to the other side. But they did it their way. I was like, okay, okay, okay. I was like, I won't fight you or argue with you. That's not my place. I will tell you, I stand. That's why I say, but I firmly stand by my decision. And just so that you and I both know, my spirits said this. My spirits and I, those are my partners. Okay, you got your husband. I got my partners. All right. They did it and called me and was like, you know, everything surrounding that area is all playing out. And I said, and this is why. It's like, so it's still trying to, like that's what I was saying. I don't buy into the submissive passive. Mm-mm. This turned out to be one of the biggest villains. The loudest of voices starts small, and when you got the human passion involved, you don't know if that whose side that person is going to be, voicing for. So I just follow spirit, and human nature always says people are usually going to go with their desires. To be honest, they're going to go over their desires over humanity, or spiritual. It could be, if you do this, all of the gnomes will have plenty of milk this season. They're definitely gonna choose the upper. It's like, guess what they get? Because when I was making my decisions at 23 and they didn't come through for me. Okay, okay. So yeah, yeah, it played out. It's playing out actually because everything was working as its spirit would have it. I mean, they got extremely close. I'm talking about fingers under the bra, buried in the head, face buried in the chest. A little bit of embrace. They closed the door. Oh yeah, it was. And then it's like, okay, it's like yeah, he's gonna call. She's trying to, do what humans do, trying to command this guy. And of course, I'm not being the good. Okay, so I know in another parallel universe, I was a genie. So in this lifetime, I have to try my best not to become a jinn, people's jinn. If you don't know what a jinn is, that means genie, and start granting all the desires of humanity, whatever they want. So but I have to in this 3D reality in this lifetime, I mustn't be put in a position where I grant people things like that. So, anyways, I maintain my abilities. My abilities are mine, but people will still try. And well, anyway, they're trying to you kind of, well, they say, they always try, everybody tries it, which that takes away from the whole submissive. Oh, you said submissive and passive, but they'll try to dial and sync me and use me as a telephone to the other side or to the human that they're trying to get to. It's like they talk. Okay, some your friend might talk through you, but people will talk at me and like try to push buttons to touch if it were you or your guy soul psychically and it doesn't work because I'm not a weakling. I stand up. I like that. No, this. I start shielding that, um, and what I do is I make people work. I was like, well, no, you're gonna if you're gonna if you're gonna do it, then you're gonna do it the human way. You're gonna do it like through practical means and use your ingenuity, use your mind, use your skills, use your if you can sing, then use your talents. But I'm not gonna start messing with things, and neither are you. At least not through me. So, anyways, so everything was up fine. They and, and we had a long conversation about this. I said, well, and I was reminded like we didn't have to do it, and I just knew that like they were going to pull in that energy and it was unnecessary. I said, but I made sure, just in case it's a test call, because I feel sometimes it's a test call. So I said, I'm going to make sure that you understand. So I'm going to have you walk all throughout this the right way, the correct, the healthy way. And, it was just like, well, I was gonna make sure I blow through this, and I'm gonna blow through you, and they start trying to hone it. I was like, that doesn't work for you. You can't get all frustrated and emotional and start moving mountains. That doesn't work for you. And I was like, oh no, you're not. I was like, you're not. Oh, you're not putting that on me. Don't worry. I'm not meaning I'm pouring all this on you. No, you're not pouring anything on me because I don't understand. Because I wouldn't know. Because I don't understand. I was like, I was completely detached, and I always make sure that I am detached. I connect with what I want to, and I disconnect what I don't want to, and those are the kinds of things I disconnect with. It's like, yes, because those kind of readings. That's where people start asking you, nearly like literally, is it okay if like they haven't had their monthly, they haven't, they haven't been able to go to use the restroom. Like what car should I buy? What is I gotta is it between the red dress or the pink dress? So I like it. Yeah, those are I don't really care for those style of readings unless now my one of my clients is high vibrational, and so when she was asking about a particular like a style, like that was more. Now that one was okay. That one was well. To be honest, she was, do she wear a gown? Because this was real fancy. She wear a gown, and then she can, just she have very nice things in their culture. So now that I would read for. I was reading for her, but we always read together, and we read. Now this one is no different. We do long readings. It's just that I was able to see past, the more demeanor. I was like, yeah, like little sweet pea, short and stout. It's like, you are an our cast, an iron cast teapot. Who you don't let it get too hot. So I think of everybody like that. Even if they come in, they kind of they stay tough, stay strong. I don't trust strong. I don't, especially guys. When I was, I was like, mm-hmm, tough and strong. Like, yeah, and then go flip on you so fast. I don't, I don't do trust in that. Or, um, yeah, well, you already know the good looking. Yeah, you already know those. So I'm not even gonna. Yeah, that one is not even necessary. I'll behave in here like straight garbage if I go and imitate that one. So yeah, yeah, humans are funny. I think we are hilarious. Okay. Anyways, so um, which brings us to the metaphysical educational side. Okay, so you mean when we make predictions about the future and we can get through, if you want to say, on the timeline, you mean that there's all these different parallel universes that they talk about, but they are also like tripwires. And as you're walking, if you if you start touching things, kind of like the butterfly effect, like you touch a butterfly, then it affects other major things, and it just blows people's mind because sometimes I be thinking that they finally stole humanity's crystal. you know, like I got it, I got it, I got you, I got you. You and now, yeah, he gonna come back, and not only he gonna call me, and he gonna be, and I'm gonna make him sweat. And I'm like, okay, okay. After they had touched those little wires on the way, because they wanted to, it's like my pride. I said it's totally unnecessary. You don't have to touch people along the way. You don't have to do this or another. And so the point is so the way that I view it, or when okay, so when I give people the information, I tell them only what spirit reveals what they should do in the midst of their movement. Like I'm working with a very okay. So my last call was someone who was they're very opulent, and they're talking about like splitting inheritance and things like that. Um, and so her situation is where um, everybody is like have their opinion and gossiping. Now here's a big kicker: this is their family because we're talking about inheritance, and their opposition happens to be their sibling. And the one that what makes this more confusing is since these are not strangers, they're family. But what makes this even more specific is that this is the dad and the mom. And so right now, it's like there's certain things that a person cannot see. Obviously, if it's a prediction, so I'm like, now I'm gonna make a prediction, which means because every time I get ready to start making a prediction, it's like the therapist gets ready to speak now. Give the therapist the floor. No, no, no. I'm not a therapist. Or here come the minister opening up that big book. No, no, no. I'm getting ready to speak something that's going to occur and that hasn't happened yet. But people are like rationalizing it like right now. Like in the present. I'm like, you'll get there. So I was saying, with in her situation, like not to allow herself to get all riled up. Don't make it a big deal with the sister. In other words, she doesn't have to do anything at all, but she has to kind of endure the little chatter. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that. A lot. I called it rambling. I said, yes, you're going to hear a lot of rambling. And she's like, yeah, I'm hearing all this like rambling, like, you know, like, what, like what I think, like what she thinks her dad is saying, and if her dad's is siding with her sister, and I'm like, scratch all of that. That's not it. It's like you like look, stay calm, and you're gonna, and the result is at the end of it, you'll get your inheritance. Don't worry, because the sister is a little infighting on the on that divide. I think I have a feeling my client actually is getting the, I guess, the bigger portion. This is the way that's playing out. Hmm. So, and it's gotten a little frustrated, and it's like, you know, uh, like right now they can't stand each other. So it's like, oh, but whose side are you on? Well, I'm team everybody. I think everybody can be happy, but right now everybody isn't. And right now everyone is in their desires, and they have things that they want. They have they want to see things happen to their benefit. And as they should. Um, but it was a very interesting conversation guiding both of my clients, in this instance, and tell them exactly what they should do. I have other clients that have done this as well. Like I have clients that try to rationalize me, and then I turn out to be right. Like I said, you know, don't sell the stocks. The stocks are going to go up. The person sells the stocks, pulls the string, because they thought it was going to fall and we were going to lose out on money. But when they sold it an hour later, within the hour that we talked, the same stock went up. And and all the way before we had that conversation, before I knew the stock was going to go up because Spirit was telling me. That's why I was telling people when they say, if you're so psychic, why don't you just play the lottery? Well, actually, I could just read for somebody, wait till somebody says, "Hey, I want to," or read over about the stock, and play and do the stocks. Life is a lottery. But I can invest in stocks. So right then I could have invested in this. I could have, okay, I'm going to take the information. I'm going to go invest in those stocks. Those stocks would have went up. So, but I don't. I haven't got. Maybe I will later. I haven't gotten to where I'm interested in that. Well, anyway, same situation with Bitcoin. But I think I think the people who asked about Bitcoin listened. I'm pretty sure. If they didn't, they're fools, as you know. But oh, she was saying, well, I'll invest in the EU. Is it EU or UE? Well, Europe, stocks. And I said, well, if that is your desire, but remember, I did suggest. I say, so it sounds like you have your mind made up on that. What else should we talk about? Talk about other things. And so they told me, not only I'm gonna sell my stock, I'm gonna look. Well, yeah, I'll look into that because I want ask somebody who, I'm like, people who actually put the stocks together will contact a psychic like myself and ask how well are they gonna do. People who were shaping Bitcoin called in and asked. That's how I knew about Bitcoin. That's how I discovered it. I didn't hear about Bitcoin before then. I was like, you're asked, but she didn't know that I read. So I had to take the time to explain it, and it was like, I don't know. Like, I've been right with every other thing. I said, let's try to get your website done by February. We just now getting it done. It's like May month. It's like we could be launching the business. We could be launching. It's like, Now they want to launch the business. Months later, like, I need that business launch. I need it. I said, by November, you'll be looking for another job. Looking for another job. I didn't know think that it would not be in my on my own free. I thought it'd be my own willpower that my by my means in my way. Well, anyway, so we're at the major one. Out of all of them that need to happen, she really needs this one to manifest. Now, to be fair, she is on her life path. She is following her life goal, and she is getting the website done. She is getting the business launch. She is creating. What she does is create very sophisticated, like natural oils. That's like, I mean, she's won over enemies. So she's changed people's perception of her, or like in a moment's time where they're literally asking her, please make me an original scent for me, so a unique scent for me, please make me one. So now she's give some away as gifts. Yeah. Now I did tell her, so I know I have a feeling that this one is like, I said, you're going to receive so many formulas. You should keep a book. I know. I did say, I say this many times. I said, well, I always say just I always, my human side says, well, I know you'll remember the formulas, but I'm like, you can just like remember to write down the formulas. You can have a big book of them, of wonderful sense, beautiful sense, and um, so well, anyway, she's in the middle of an interview. I believe she's going to get the position, and it's for neuro. They work with the mind, like neurosurgeons, the mind, the human brain, actually, specifically, neurology, the human brain, for health, mental health, which that's up her alley because the same thing she's working on, they correspond to what she's doing with her. She wanted to, okay, so her mission for her life path is to create oils that people can use to soothe, help themselves, help their mental health. That's a big red button over there in Denmark, which is brilliant. And she's also have worked with mentors that are like celebrity um, business people who you make a pitch to them and they decide to invest in you. So I forget the name of it. Something angels, loan angels. I'm not sure quite the spin on that, but anyway, she won. She won and a space or spot, and and the mentor actually not only wanted to invest in her, but also more or less buy into the company, like as become a partner more or less. But I know my client didn't want to. We had a reading over it, said they didn't want to partner or anything like that. Invest. My client is okay with, you know, um, would rather come up with her own money. I'm sure. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So we have been sorting this out. My readings were naturally flowing. The natural journey is by February 2025. Of course, that's passed, and now we're in May. However, that's the point of free will. The astrologers, when they read for the like the royalty, they take the answer and you more or less shape it to what you intend to do, and your ultimate decision. So I encourage people to to also do that, and it doesn't throw a person off. You know, I'll always reassure that don't worry, you still have plenty of time. Um, because in my mind, I'm thinking 2025, you know, will be quite active. So anyway, this new job position will allow for that activity to start. You know, as we are moving deeper into 2025 and to bringing in 2026. But yeah, this is going to be an amazing entrepreneurial pursuit. Um, I think, and then also backed by an amazing company. This company that she describes is a huge company and basically offsets the entire scales. You know, it's one of those types of situations where she can go back, you know, to people of her past and say, "Look at me now." So that's she also wants to do that. So you know, she has goals, you know, and ambition. So we're going to do that. That's what we're working on accomplishing. Well, we will know in a matter of a few days. Over the next 3 days, we'll know. Of course, I was already live with one of my clients who's going to Qatar. Who's already made the making. Well, going to come to the U.S. first, but then eventually we'll go to Qatar. Yep, and we already talked about the royal family. Yeah, we have royal family readings. Yes, reading for royalty. Yes, the Qatar royal family. We've got that down. We've got that one. That one is a 1,000% success. So I have other ones that are manifesting, which is beautiful, so beautiful. So these are the things that we have going on today. Yeah, that's how you get past the tripwire. You just follow exactly to the instructions from spirit to the T, and you know it makes things easier. But what I find is that sometimes when spirit is involved, and you know, people maybe don't want what the target is. They don't. Sometimes it's not even about reaching the target. My client could have reached the target. I mean, otherwise, you know, if the target was literally, you know, to get a particular attention from a guy, uh, that's going to happen anyway, naturally. But sometimes it's not about get reaching the goal. Sometimes it's all in the in between. So as I'm reading, the deeper lessons here is this person is unsatisfied with the way things have been going at home. So there's these deeper elements of work that's also happening that we're working on as well. It isn't just, oh yes, at the end of the day she got the man. And, no, she's learning to use her voice. It's not the receptionist's fault. Not at the receptionist. Definitely should have left the receptionist alone. That's where the tripwire. That's come in at. No, it was like these. Some of these things need to be said to her at home, and so that's what um, she's learned. She's learning to, you know, to spell that out, articulate that quite well. So yeah. So we're also helping home, but also helping societal matters, like in the social realm, so that we do that as well. But I don't want to give it to um, frauds. I don't want to give this information to frauds. You know, no. And I definitely want to give this to the deserving people. You know, my information. People who deserve it. People who are good people. You know, or people who really want to grow and become empowered. My clients, my client may want the guy at the doctor's office, and she got him. By the way, that reading was easy, but she wants to she wants to be respected at home. She wants to, you know, use her voice and be heard, amplify her voice. And we're gonna get her there. We're gonna, you know, this is her practical. We call the microcosm, like step by step, mundane things. How are you? How is your life? How are you managing? How are you holding up? Like we're talking in that on that level. So I think she's gaining strength here. She's gaining ground. So this is good. Good for her. So that's what we're going to do, and definitely continue to grow and expand on things. Keeping keep focused. That's another one. We're gonna keep focused. Okay, so if I can align with others and help everyone in in my sphere continue, I think, to grow as individuals. I do believe at some point they lighten up. Even the greatest of my clients have been burned, and you know, have someone in their lives they needed to overcome. Even my men, even my most, like, I mean, men who are powerful, who, you know, like stand with presidents, you know, things like people like that, big, like they travel the world, you know, they private jet, you know, they have someone in their life that they had to overcome the matters of the heart, someone who was in love. For a man, that's going to be a woman, and for the women, there are men where the you know where she has had to over like people they've had to overcome in their lives. So, um, and these highest, I say they're the highest because they're doing major things in the world. You know, it's taking them all, you know, globally to other, you know, other lands. And anyway, if these are what they call the men and women of renown, well, they also have their moments where they are like, you know, they're not going to, they want to say, play nice anymore. Like they played nice, especially when they've given and they're realizing these are people who are mobile, who are people of action, and when they discover just how, like, their range of motion, they they don't really mind cutting people out. And then of course there are some people you couldn't tell them that that person is going to leave their life. They just know that person will be back, even if nothing else, just on a practical survival level. It's like this person won't leave because like I'm a person. They know I'm a person of means. Like I have money. So this person's always needing something from me. They're not going anywhere. So they know this too. But with that said, they also come to realize like that they have so much for themselves at their fingertips. Like why do they need to settle? Why settle? And that they are you know they should appreciate themselves more. That's what I encourage. Even my brightest clients, I encourage them to appreciate themselves more. And it works because they do. And no one can get over on them. But because I help humanity and I don't, oh, you don't like this person? And start trying to, no, I don't try to bring harm or negativity and, against, I do clear people out of the way. I mean, together with my clients, we know how to, which path to take to get around people, and we'll do that. But for the most part, at the end of all of it, though, everybody, like the people that I'm talking about that they've have risen up against, actually have gone on, as described in my reading, to go off to have wonderful lives. They have in their own lives. The person is healthier, even a healthier version of themselves. Yes, I was helping that person through my client. That person grew, changed careers, more have more realistic view of life. And now the person's like, I'm ready for you now. Look at me, I'm so healthy. But my clients are so uh, have grown up so much, and become so much self aware, and they realize what all that they can accomplish. They're like, no way am I. I'm not even gonna take a chance. Even after the other person, I mean, that usually stifled them greatly in one way and caused them to lose out on so much, has evolved. My clients still won't say, they'll say, no, I'm not, no. They even will keep an eye out. Sometimes they're like, I ask if they're like around, if they're checking up on me, because I don't want any surprises, because I'm not letting that person back in my life. So yeah, so that's how personal my readings get. They get pretty personal, by the way. But my clients, for them, the world is their oyster, and they're just living it up. But so I'm at the place of I guess my reading style. It's not so when a client, it's not just the client who's getting a reading. It's everybody, the whole soul group, even if it's or couple, even if it's a couple, everybody's getting read. But my client will hear all the information, and that information will, can then be confirmed. So I'm reading for people who I haven't seen yet, or, or spoken to. I haven't seen my clients technically, but I've at least talked with them, interact with them. Um, yeah, which seeing you, I don't have to see you to read for you. I can just I can connect with your words. Even people's like when they even okay, yes, when you everyone has a unique writing imprint. Okay, as as such, everyone also has a unique, uh, I guess, when you chat or type imprint as well. that I can read that. In other words, to me, it looks like okay. So whenever, if let's say if I'm reading a book by an author, okay, so I'm reading it like reading this word, but when I connect with a person who is chatting with me, it's like the words kind of glow to me, or it's like I'm mentally stressing the words. It's very interesting, and it allows me to connect with with the vibration of the one who wrote the words or typed them. Mhm. So I'm able to do that. So that's how I connect with people through chat. And so when it's regarding like through the phones, it's energetically through the voice, I think. So it's like oh, so it's like I'm channeling the words and or that's being spoken to me, and then I've learned to channel them and focus on the words where they're kind of like in front of me, and like if I happen to okay, so if I'm doing this live, I watch myself, and I found myself actually like speaking as they're speaking to me, or and my eyes are like darting back and like to and fro as though I'm reading what the person is stating to me, and then making predictions. But then I start multitasking because I love the language of symbols. I love the way that the spirits speak so plainly to me. Like I just understand, you know, I know that like very sophisticated and numerous symbols, but I understand it in its most simplest form. So like spirits can share with me a piece of information. I relay it quickly. Likewise, they can also reveal it to me through what we call esoteric symbols. Ooh, lately I've been having powerful esoteric dreaming. Um, I'm not sure if I should go into it, but into the details. Yeah, it was very interesting. And yeah, it's a lot. It's still fresh on my mind. Uh, basically, it's like I'm still having to like sort of, I guess, like watch out for little things. So I guess I'm sort of sorting something out. It's like it's narrowed itself down to like I guess things that would complicate a particular pathway. Um, so I'm learning how to. Well, I'm studying how this is playing out in the real in the I guess in the 3D world more or less. So like I've actually been keeping an eye out for clients, or to see what type or what kind of clients that come in for the readings, and what they intend to do. I guess during their stay, if you will, the time that they're visiting. What is it that they're trying to accomplish? What is it that they have in mind? Um, of course, those get kind of tricky when you just as I'm discovering. Well, what you I guess say you're here for is not really why you're here, and then making sure my path is not Russell Simmons' path. In other words, so, Uh, also, no, no, that's personal. Okay, you know Jared, the singer of 3 Days Mars. It's like the guy who plays what does he play? He plays the Joker, and then there's Russell Simmons who I guess who came in as a guru. Okay, he was a guru. He kind of went. I don't know. He went to some kind of like a retreat, and all these everybody was dressed in white, and he was there, and he was in there. All these ladies, dressed in white. But now, am I even saying his name correctly? Hold on. Well, anyway, now he has what allegations on him, and I know he's British. Oops, wrong one. That one's black. My bad, bro. Let's see. I'm going to his. Okay, usually I see him here. Yeah. Actually, he wouldn't be here. I don't think it would be good for his brand. Hmm. He's a great analogy. If I can find him. Okay. Yeah, he got cleaned up. Let's see. He's yeah, he's a little clear. Yeah. Uh, Russell Brand. So there's Russell Brand. I can remember Russell Brand. And then there's these two shouldn't get confused between. You got to be specific. Okay. No, Jared Leto. Okay, so Jared Leto should not be confused with Russell Brand. Okay, so both of them have that 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 the Jesus Christ thing going on, and so like the guru Jesus Christ thing going on. Well, Jared Leto, that's not his style. Jared Leto is like level. He's level headed. I like to imagine, right? He played the Joker, right? But then there's, and also I think okay. So then there's Russell Brand, who again trying to coming in as a guru. Everybody meditate, zen in. Let's go to Planet 3D, and then guess what happened? Now look at him. He did the whole dressed it, only male on the beachfront. All the women, all the young women, in white, all lined up, and he goes there and he goes to sit in front of them. All of them are Mary Magdalene's. Every one of them. Well, so he gets a what allegation on him. Now, in fact, he's pleaded not guilty, but he's a spiritual guru. Yeah, so he tipped. So people get degrees or they graduate a chapter in their life, and then they're like, I think I'll be a spiritual guru. Like their go to. And then when they do, then when they discover, did you know that the people that you're going to be a guru of, they tend to shape cults. So he gets indoctrinated. Russell Brand himself, the guru, gets indoctrinated, gets pulled into a, it's no other pretty way of saying it. It's a sex cult. He got pulled into a sex cult, but but he's supposed to be the male that that's supposed to be like chaperoning, but he's over here participating, and they're just sliding him from one end to the other of the floor. Anyway, and now you know, and he played a little too hard in there, and so anyway, they now he's pulled into that, and what oh yeah, now he's having to go to court, and he wasn't dressed in white. He had on a suit. Okay, so he's going there. He went there and he was wearing a suit. Okay, he's wearing a suit. Okay, he wasn't dressed in a white robe, and flowing hair. He put his hair back, put on a suit, okay, and went to court and say, hey, easy, not guilty. I would like to enter a plea, please. Not guilty. he's, he's, I know it's not a funny matter. I know it's a real matter, but why do people do it? Look, I am a psychic and a spiritualist and a counselor and all these things. I won't even be a guru. I won't play. I won't be a part of it. I'll tell you, look, no, no, no. I'm a solo practitioner. People are always contacting me through my DM, always trying to get me segregated out of my space. They always try to get me to come out of my space. They always like, hey, you want to do business together? No, no, that's okay. No, no, thank you. No, no. Yeah, it's like there's as like I've never in my life met anyone that could do something like that for me. Because the nature in which people do business, actually, when they contact me, it's in the form of an investment. They come in as an investor, but the people who contact me are investors, and those who are actually trying to select who to like investors will come through, and for themselves, are doing business much differently. Like there's an incentive, a meeting that has happened between them where they met in person. Like it's like this is not even how people are making money. So because they're talking to me, I'm not that I know what like I'm listening to the best of the best, and they're saying okay they signed. So am I going to be able to hold the end of my bargain? Everything will go well from here on out, things like that. So, and so when people are like trying to put, I think they are trying to again follow, be occults, like follow into the occult stuff. I think they're trying to be scammy. That's why I can't fall for that or believe in that, because I'm talking to the like real people who do those things. And besides, I wouldn't need to talk to somebody who's contacting me through the 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 media space privately, like through like DMing me. Why not just point me to the website? Why not just say, hey, did you know? They could have. They would have made me actually believe in them and not delete them if they just would have said, hey, you go to PayPal and buy Bitcoin. I know you don't have to. You don't need, like, I don't need your hindsight to tell me I can go to Bitcoin.com, invest crypto.com and invest in any of the cryptos that I want to know, or that I want to make purchases with, and there are like legit systems in place to, where it's safe and secure, and it's not somebody behind an emoji. I mean, a face, an emoji. Somebody, yeah, I might as well say that is definitely an emoji. That is not a what do you call those? An icon. That's not their real full profile pic. Looking like it's like, well, it's no Henry that I know. I know a lot of Henrys and Gregory, but that's not a Tim that I know of. I never met that guy. he, the one that I'm looking at, like, he doesn't even look friendly. Like, that's not the type that usually would say, "Hey, can I buy you a drink?" Like, that's a few that's bought me drinks. So I like I'm at a like comedy club, and like I'm ready to spend. They're like, "Hey, I've got you covered all night as much as you want to drink." My friend was like, like, okay. I was like, I don't know if that was to you too, so I'll cover you. Like, share the wealth. That is so fun when you share the wealth. Like a stranger says, "I got you tonight," and you could tell your buddy, "I got you tonight." Okay, he just circulated. That was in Seattle. I had the most fun in my life. Yeah. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, those emojis don't look like the kind of guy that want to come and teach me how to play pool or something. He doesn't. Like you know, take care of the bar tab. No, he doesn't look like them kind of guy. Like this guy look like. I'm not saying you got to go and have all that done for you, but I'm just saying, like the thumbnails that they use to try and scam me, it'd be somebody that's like literally washed out, and they're like, I mean, somebody's like straight up, like in the same conversation, already asking for like like personal information. Like, wait a minute, like who are you? Like, what do you mean? I'm whoever you want me to be. Like, well, okay, but I just don't want to. I don't want to pay you to be whatever. I just want you to be you, be the real you. And I'm like, if you know behind that emoji, that is not that. That's not that dude. That is not that guy. Mm-mm, mm-mm. You got to be careful. Well, anyways, well, y'all know I'm me. So, and definitely do not contact. Okay, so the first celebrity, well, don't contact any of the celebrities I know and tell them that I'm misbehaving or that I am a scammer. They'll say you gotta be nuts, because that is a good reader. That reader is great. So that and don't contact any of the famous psychics I know who I work with their clients. Don't tell them that I'm messing you around and messing you about and promising readings that I'm not delivering. Don't dare do that. So yeah. So one of five. 'Cause I work. Oh, there are five. I believe five. And so the one that I'm sharing with now is Sally Morgan. Yeah. So this is from Sally Morgan's. I'm one of her talented psychics, and those are her words. Because all of the prophets were like, yeah, my mentor this, my mentor that. You know, the person that I guess is, the person that they admire. So it's like, well, you know, um, when I was young, right, um, there were two shows that came on. One was the Master Prophet Bernard Jordan, who, by the way, who gave $8 million to a university recently. 8 million, for spiritual technology. But besides that, but before he would come on, because he would come on late, like 11:30, and he would have his infomercials going on. And but there was the Psychic Friends Network, and I of course I had regular playing cards in my hand. I was like, I'm gonna be doing that. Now their cards had faces on it. I was like, where'd they get those? They look very different. I said, well, mine can do kind of what they can do. So then I learned that like I saw that they had like these Trump cards. Well, I didn't know to call them Trump cards, but they had these cards that had faces. Um, that my playing cards didn't have, and but I used the jokers for those types of cards. So those jokers became my trump cards more or less. And then that was, of course, I later discovered it's called cartomancy. So I was practicing cartomancy, and and then I read for someone who said, "Oh my, you're so great. You need actual real tarot cards." Yes, I read and tested for my first tarot deck. Right. So I was so good that someone said, "I'm gonna buy you a set. I'm gonna buy you a set of cards. Tarot. I'm gonna buy you a tarot deck." And I was able. They took me, and I was able to get the deck and the book. And they said, "Okay, I'm gonna have you read for me again, and this book I'm gonna read. I'm gonna test you on it, and I'm gonna have you do another reading for me." And I did, and they bought me the volume two. Bought me volume two. So, and I chose the deck of Rider Waite. So I chose the Path of the Rider Waite deck. Um, okay, so the Psychic Friends Network was P um, PFN. It was a huge network. There's a lot of backstory. I'm not going to go into that. I'm not. I'm not. I want to keep them in a light. So I'm going to speak good things. So the good thing is that they were the precursor to myself wanting to go into like someday becoming a famous or well, yeah, becoming a very a phenomenally fantastic, the best psychic in the world. So that's what I wanted to do, and I was but after that, when you know, he referred to himself as the master psychic, and he would like train, I guess, master. Did I call him master psychic? Yeah, there's master psychics who were on Psychic Friends Network, but also there was Master Prophet, and he would raise other prophets to become master prophets. That's what I meant to say. And I remember, and I was standing there. I was like, do I need to choose his path, or do I choose? I mean, for obvious reasons, I'd be interested in him, but because I was innocent then, and I was like, I just felt a pull. Like I would be looking at him, but I'd be having those regular playing cards, not tarot cards, and I would hold them, and I'd feel the vibration of like there's a very little seed, psychic. I say I want to grow and cultivate that seed into something. So that's what I chose. I chose the path of the psychic. I did. Uh, these days, by the way, there's some things I haven't been really transparent about. Oh yeah. So it's going to get a little bit more complicated. I have been getting. Can I say it now? Okay. So I've been getting these impressions that, like I've been getting like these. I like to call it, refer to them as psychic prophecies, psychic predictions to the most. But I always do predictions. But I feel like these. I saw the word spelled out, psychic prophecy, attract. It was moving towards me. So I do. I felt like. So I've been sharing. I've been sharing a lot of my predictions on my Twitter. That's where I place them, and sometimes I go over it here with you all. And there's a very particular conversation I'm going to talk about. Um, I've already have it all, all the information in order, the way that I'm supposed to share it, and um, it is prophecy, but it's psychic prophecy because I'm a psychic. So I'm beginning to pull in these realms of, like across realms. It's like I'm reaching across realms and calling things to me, into my experience, my reality. So, which is a very fascinating experience that I'm having. I'm still going through it. It's still, I guess, I'm still in some sort of like discovery of this. So I haven't, expressed it fully. So but I know how it's going to flow, and because I'm the reason why it's cryptic is because I don't want to share the, I don't want to share, my information and my sources and start citing things before I share, like okay, so what makes it so spectacular, extraordinary, and why are you calling it a prophecy, a psychic prophecy, at that? So I'm being very cautious. So I'm only sharing just a tad bit, but yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. And like for right now, I'm just seeing how things play out. But as you could tell, if you're following along, things tend to play out as they should. Things tend to play out as they should. Mm-hmm. Um, I was very cryptic today, but you'll hear about it because then I won't need to be as cryptic. It's kind of like, here, I'm gonna give you all the places to go look, even though you may not know what you're looking at if you go look for it. But I mean, I have that clear cognizant thing. I'm able to discover information, that I hadn't found yet, like, or knowledge. I gain knowledge before, I guess, looking up the information. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Oh, okay. Everything good? Okay, we all good. All right. I'm just hanging out, being at peace. So, how are y'all? Wow, look at all of those minutes. Y'all hanging out with me like that? Wow. Y'all giving me them big digits. Thank you. It went up a little bit. Oh, now, don't y'all come in here messing up my average. Okay, how long have I been on? About it for an hour. kind of want to take my average and run for somebody come in here and mess up my average. I'm just kidding. I'll hang it a little while longer. So, oh my gosh. Yeah. Whew. Let's see. So, pretty much, what's next is that I think that um, the more that people experience, sometimes they say you have experiencers. The more that people can experience their life in I think that's more like a psychic way. It does more or less bring them to a place of like a bit of a reckoning, because there's that acknowledgement, of what goes into what bringing a long term happiness. Um, of course, that when it comes to mind, as the clients, as my clients, on their journey, they're recognizing what they really want. Like when they pick and choose, and they're accepting and they're going through motion. They've already accepted and endured so much. It's like this is good as it gets. I'm lucky, because you know, uh, they own their own plane or something. But then they realize, wait a minute, uh, they can actually fulfill and actually have things that's meaningful. They can have. Wait a minute, you telling me I can have meaningful relationships? When they say like that's the offer here. That's what's being offered here. Then they start to really look at their options. Like before, they weren't looking at the options. They're just like, they're going through through the secular world, their life, and they're like, yeah, they got the badge, they got the suit, the super suit. They're making super money, But then it's like, according to the book, they should be, astounded. But what brought them to me, if because that's what I specialize in, is revealing to to men and women what really will bring happiness to them, and it's never that. It's never that those things that you say, well, according to Forbes, it's more than that, because they got that. They are, yes, and Forbes is right. But then they start to think, what else? What would really make them, like, what is, because they're still asking, what is life, and what is happiness, and what is it that will ultimately bring them happiness? In that one moment, in that one time where they say they have done something very important in their life, and it's successful, and it's not something that is necessarily shared on paper, then they realize, oh, and then they start getting all these other ideas. Like there's many ways to be, if you want to say, to be altruistic. You can be altruistic in business, actually. Like, I have a client who's very rough around the edges. I mean, he's a straight up man from, like, like he's like his. There's no shame in it. It's patriarch. It's like that. It's the fatherland. That's not the motherland. That's the fatherland. Obviously, I'm talking about the Arab Kingdom, and and uh, he's like, so he could care less. Like I don't. It's like I only care about my money. I don't care about that. You know, just what he says. At the day, I do the business. You know, I'm a like closer. It's like, well, he used to be a closer. I'm not a closer. You know, he'll close a business. That's somebody else to close the business. He's a shot caller. Like I do people say. You know, he says I tell people what to do and they're gonna do it. I formulate the plan. They follow the plan, and he checks up on the plan. He's not the closer anymore. Don't confuse him. So, well, anyway, uh, in of all places, Vietnam. Vietnam wants to do business internationally and now have the ability to do it. And he's like, the first time he heard it was like, I don't care about that. That's a little, you know, because it was immediately triggering. It was like, you know, it doesn't matter what they where they from, what they look like. You know, they got the money. You know, then it turned into they sound like they really want to do. They started. He always sees how I'm thinking it. He knows he can only truly be this way with me. He can't go. I wouldn't recommend he go anywhere, not even to Africa, which he does go to Africa, because he had a friend, best friend he grew up with in Africa, who was African actually. They grew up together as into adults. Well, anyway, they're working on a project, and I'm reading both of them through my client. But he knows he can't go and he's not this way with you all, but he, after he reads with me, he calms down and he starts, to participate, and he starts to okay, how like his way of contributing to making the world a little bit better, and he's yeah, and he actually he he won over all the people, of course, who was challenging him because he his journey came across very favorably in the reading. He of course oh yeah okay, so my client, okay, when I first began reading for him, by the way, he's a big client. He's always been big and rich and all of that, have women, all that, and knows to play tennis. Lives in Dubai. Well, he um, um, when I first read for him, he actually had there was a person who he more or less reported to, couldn't do nothing unless, and I would tell him, I said, you have all these things that are soon to happen to you. You're going to meet people all across the world on the world stage, but not like the people you have around you. He says, yeah, I have business meetings. No, 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 no. These business meetings, these are diplomatic. These are on the world stage type of personalities like presidents, people who in government, in high government, private government, and you're going to be in private sector. And he's like, that's like, he was like, some, because he thought I was flattering him until it happened. Then it happened. Now he's with a group that he tried to he even found this group, was trying to introduce this group to the person who is at the time is over him. And I said, they're not going to work with him. And he said, why not? Well, they're not going to like him? Is that, or my boss, in other words, not going to like them? I said, no, they want to work with you, and they're really only going to want to listen to you. I don't know if you see this. Don't take this the wrong way, but actually, you are at the pinnacle and not who the person you report to at this time. In other words, you're soon going to step into the place of leadership, and you're going to be walking in, on the path independently, apart from the one who you report, as you would report reporting to today. You will report to no one. People actually will call you and ask questions. You will actually write up agendas and plans. And he was like, okay, so when's this starting? He's like, so, okay, so when's this starting? When? So a whole lot of things happened. They got into a little, he's, of course, I told him, I said, don't worry, they're not going into court. It'll be settled out of court. Actually, it's not even a court thing. It's going to drop. They're going to go as far as they are willing to give time for, which is not very much. It'll be done by November. he did my they disappeared until the top of the year, and it said, "Look, if you call it quits, we call it quits. If you propose it, we'll say that's good. We'll sign it, and we'll go our way." I also told him, I said, but you're gonna here's gonna be a bad part. Everybody has the buddy. I said, however, I see you awake. I see your, but his buddy fell asleep, and in the buddy's reality, everything went dark. It was like he went to sleep, and it was daylight. He went to sleep. He woke up, and then it was nighttime. It was like, oh my gosh, so many hours have passed. That's his the energy he got pulled into the void, into the right, like energy. He you say that flunking, like when you like flunking feeling. Like he missed the assignment. He didn't do well on the test. He like out. Out the vibration. The black hole. He was in the black hole, and that's like I tell my clients, you know, you can't retrieve him. You're not gonna be able to go back for him. He's not. You can't like wake him up to your awareness, because anyway, as you can feel, your vibration is going up, and all the time you would be trying to you know bring him to. Actually, you're gonna be physically, literally in another part of the world, because you're gonna go. He had to go make a trip. So he's been doing this for months now, like at least for the past 5 months. hmm Which, well, of course, I told him. I said, these at the time, these particular countries. This is not the only type of country you're going to gravitate towards. You're actually gravitating to countries. So actually, we're going global, more like the world. So from all across Europe, London, all the places, Africa, now Vietnam. So wonderful places. That in which he is going to do fantastic business. Anyway, and for the sole purpose of creating legacy and infrastructure. So I was reading him, and that's how I was discovering a few topics I'm going to talk about that aligns with predictions and or prophecies, of course, and as playing out on the stage, and we could see that through our president, as it's supposed to be. Everything, universe is definitely in order. Yep. Um, so yeah, I have these kinds of readings, all the way to the part where I've got occasionally I meet a gentleman who they're just we're at the place where they're hanging out just to themselves, maybe at the local pub or bar, and they got their eye just fixed on just one sweetheart. There's just one sweetheart they just cannot shake. But I'm always trying to convince these, I start to help them to adjust their aura a bit and get them attracting a few different types, if you will. And it's funny to see how they're handling those newfound pressures of having choice. That's always yeah, I enjoy those. So sometimes guys are just looking you know for a change, but they don't. But a guy just I guess the guy language isn't to say I need a change. Is like it's more like I'm like he's in control. Certain I guess statements or analogies just guys just typically don't use. Um, but I can pick them out. I know what goes where, and um, I had to assist psychically a gentleman. He was having a he didn't want to say he had to use all the equivalent male words to describe to explain that he was hurt. It's like you're hurt. It's like you said. He's like, man, you said it. Like, man, you said it too casually. No, no, I'm not. No, I'm not hurt. It was like then use all the all of the elements of not fair. Yeah, yeah, it's hurt, and how he can how he now can grow out of this situation. In other words, I was letting him know. I said, "Don't worry. This isn't going to impact your identity because this one is faulty. This one is faulty." So, I mean, when things happen and it's the truth, that's one thing. But like in Russell Brand's case, Russell Brand, he got a lot going on. But then there's, yeah, my clients. One of my clients was just straight up extortion. it was there was there's no sugarcoating it. And it wasn't a Russell Brand situation. It was more like, I was promised this, I didn't get that because they have a different dynamic over there because I guess they had to police the sweetheart, the man who comes across to women as sweethearts and like promising the world, that they're this and that, and they don't deliver or they back out when they gotten all that they wanted, and she can over there she can take in the courts, kind of like false advertisement or deception. I was led to believe it was this and that, but um, to do that is, so you're telling the gentleman he doesn't no longer have to be a gentleman anymore and keep the secrets, keep everything quiet, everything out in the open. It becomes that. And he said, and over there, he always makes it very clear when he starts to talk about the laws over there. He says, "Oh, this isn't America over there. Over here, you can't say what you want." I was like, "Don't." I said, "Hey, we're catching up to you all." He said, "Well, yeah, it's pretty black and white." Once I say this, it's out of my control. Like they take care of it from there. Like if you say help, this is that, and this person's it, they take control of it. Now, I like that concept. Kind of like you can't be like, help, hey, get me out of this situation, and then change your mind, at the last minute and say, well, you just want to do a warning shot. They said, no, no, no. He says they don't do that over there. Like you put yourself out there like that. We already know that they police the internet over there. So like your tweet, anything catch it push the wrong triggers the wrong subject. Oh yeah, they're on that. They're on it like you have paraphernalia. But he was stating that yeah, it take you they take it completely out of your hands and enforce it like full on. So yeah, that's very interesting actually. Which that would take a lot of pressure off of parents. They're one of their child's like in a bad situation, and the child is has a lot of emotions and doesn't know if they want to pursue it, and they're like, oh, never mind. But I changed my mind. Just tell them that I don't want to anymore. Not over there. what I'm told. They get it and get it done immediately. Immediately. So definitely not a Russell Brand situation where like, and then it was like, wait a minute, I wasn't promised. That's not what I was doing. He's like, you want all of it out, and you want all of it? Are you sure? Even the ugly part? Okay. So it's like, Yeah, his other lawyers, of course, already said, yeah, don't worry about it. He could still go out of. He's supposed to. Yeah, he's supposed to go to. Well, he's planning on going to Vietnam. He doesn't. I don't think he goes. There's a sign this week actually. Then he can go, and then that prediction happens and it plays out. But yeah. So yeah, we definitely cleared that vibration. I forgot his name already. Jared Leto. Yeah, Jared Leto. Two thumbs up. He's good. He's good. Russell Brand. He's innocent to found guilty. It's just I saw this coming a mile. The moment that I saw him up there talking about tell you know, he's an actor acting like me. I knew that. Oh, what did you do? That's the first thing. I'm gonna start asking. Like, okay, the moment when I start seeing people and they do a 180 and they become zealous, a zealot, I'm gonna start asking. Okay, what did you do? Is the person okay? You go. You did you check up on them? You make sure they're okay. I'm gonna start. You might as well because every it happens every single time. I'm just letting y'all know. As y'all know, no, I've been reading since I was young and I'm reading to today, and I've always been spiritual. So it's not this is not a 180 for me. So and also I'm not a guru. I'm not to say that I'm guru caliber because I'm not. But it's just I find that so interesting that when people go right into that space, a guru spiritual, there he goes, then a straight up nosedive. It goes. Is there anybody that made it? Let me see. I can't think of one. Like all the ones that are spiritual and that actually, I guess, uh, transcend. First of all, they're really smart, and they already were. Um, I hate to say it, like the trust between large groups or organized groups, put it all together, had already broken the trust there, and so they made them very, very aware of the world in a way. Street smart, wise, made them wiser, and so and as they start to like when they do transcend and then becoming let's say some type of a spiritual teacher or guru, like they stand on their own. But recently, I actually was uh, like I came across a few people who were like destroyed. I mean, like just like they were just so destroyed, and oh my gosh, they were destroyed in such a way that I think one of his name is Mama or something. They called her Mama. She blew big. They literally was like hauling around her expired being, and it was also um, the crown chakra was was set to the side, okay, and was decorated. I mean, it was wild, and I don't think this came through her teaching. Um, Also, had gone without eating for long periods of time. It doesn't seem like that was. Oh, it felt very much like someone who is maybe becomes unstable and separated from family, and then more or less other unstable people taking advantage of an unstable person, an emotionally unstable person, and and they end up performing like a ritual. It turned out to be a cult and death ritual. Ultimately, is what the law enforcement uncovered. It's yeah. So I mean, every time I look at that, I'm like, I don't want that to be me. And then there's other one. Oh, and oh, by the way, like someone like what's her name? Oprah Winfrey. Like Oprah Winfrey seems like she is a magnet for gurus. It's always a guru. It was also associated with you know, the Bible uses the word traffickers. The Bible uses that word, and it's like they just always gravitate to her. Which I don't know why, because she just gonna direct them to the nearest police station, which that's what happened. And then this is a little funny. The Tate brothers are back in the news, and I jokingly say I'm so far along in the video, it's gonna be so covered up, so nobody would hear this. When the first round about them coming out, being arrested, etc. I would say how long would we have to pretend that they're not on a like for you know helping law enforcement round up the traffickers who run like packs, running packs, and then eventually they're gonna be like he said, oh yeah, he's 15 years deep, and they're pulling him in, and then they're gonna realize one day that they're the only ones. They keep going, they're going to jail, but Tate, like, he keeps winning in court and not going at. Just like I would leave it alone. I would go. I was like, it's like, yeah, he's going to jail. I was like, no, he's gonna go chill in Dubai. And of course, they have all the pimps, all the internet pimps, and they're gonna now that they've done it in the uh, what's that place called? Is it Transylvania? Close. Let me see. Uh, Romania. Okay, so they did it in Romania. Now they're gonna do it in the UK. He's doing taking a little tour. Oh gosh. That was anyway. I hope he succeeds. Good, good for them, good for them. I hope he's using his influence and power for good things. Because I'm telling you, that's more his personality. And there are just some people that it's in an like I knew this as a psychic, so I said it right out the gate. But other people are. It's funny. Other people are kind of like catching on. It's like they're hinting to it. They're like, he's not going to. He's not been, uh, indicted for anything. Anything. It's like exactly. Like they're starting to. Wait a minute. Okay. You're talking isn't he like he's like a number one kickboxer in the world? I mean, I'm not saying that it makes them. Obviously, they have to. You have to have a. There's like you're held to a higher, expectation or cares, but doesn't mean that they can't participate. I mean, even more so, why not? Especially if the money's good. But his money is good. His money is good on its own. He doesn't need to do that. But even if that was just like a quirk that he needs to work out, um, still wouldn't make any sense because his nature, his very nature, is more like to defend than rather than to. Um, no, his ego is too big. I'm telling you one thing. I think they'd be well kept rather than kept and locked in a you know in a small room. Talking to you guys. That's just. I mean, for like, I don't think that's his. I don't, that's personality wise. That's not him. That's not him. That's a total sting. He's part of a sting, an international pimp, internet pimp bust. How many? Okay, you'll never find. Good. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. God knows all of His creation. He knows. God knows everybody, each one of our hearts. I bet that he's probably most likely are going to be at some point it's going to come out where he's going to be like he helped a lot of victims get out of a tough situation, with these you know underground heathens, you know being brought to heal in the kingdom. Oh my goodness. All right. Okay, so I, my goodness. Let's see. So I'm definitely going to be here. The next time I go live is tomorrow at 10 a.m. So 10 a.m. That's Central Time. So I definitely will be live. Of course, that's I'm going to be doing readings though. Spiritual teachings come through the readings all the time, so you'll gain, I mean, wisdom, real wisdom from the spirits. The way they speak, it permeates everyone's mind. So yes, I will share, of course, the readings, psychic readings, with people, but we're learning as well from these readings because wisdom comes through here as well, or is being transmitted. Also, it's interesting, like to kind of study, I guess, we as human beings, like our nature, uh, from like in the psychic space, people tend to be more who they are. They're not told to restrain it like in a counseling space. Now, every space is appropriate. I grew up around counselors with masters and doctorates, psychiatrists, etc., all that. So, but this is a different space, and this is not that. It's not counseling, things like that. It's not ministry. So it's not talking to a bishop or a pastor or someone like that. The psychic realms. People do tend to, as they say, oh, or a prophet. Not speak to a prophet, or not in the office of a prophet. You speak to with a psychic. Yes, people tend to be as they are, and oh, now it doesn't mean that this is where they're over here having drinks with spirits. No, they're not. They're not. You know, toasting it up with with the angels. And saying whatever they want. No, they say whatever they want, but spirit is like, okay, you could feel that way. You can even state that you feel that way, but spirit said this, and as long as we acknowledge that. Anyway, so it's always good to learn in this space because we learn about ourselves, human nature, um, in the psychic space. What we also call the astral realm. Astral realm is typically a place where people don't hide, because everything that you want to hide, it becomes psychic debris, which we call it. I call it like astral debris. Well, anyway, it can be found there. Sometimes, people want to know if someone is telling the truth, or if the company actually has a plan for them. Well, this is where they put it in this astral like space, and all we have to do is just check it out, and then when we do, when we decipher this the information that's there, that was whatever was hidden, then that gives us our answer. Like, yeah, was this person really where they say they were that night, for example? And then also explain, um, then if so, then with under what pretense and with whom? If not, then where? So the most difficult part is, because see, these things you can see with your eyes. So I typically don't read, and I guess in the context of, I guess, emotions, as a rule. I mean, I can sense them out, but but if I'm going to relay it through a psychic reading, I only share what the eyes can see. So when people try to make it into people, well, people sometimes will try to make it to them. I was like, no, I don't. I am. This is not an emotional dumping ground. Because the first thing I'm gonna do is say is, first of all, okay, so this is good. You saying these things. So now everything you say right now, this is a person you need to say to your wife, or husband, or your boyfriend, or girlfriend, or to the boss, or your brother, whomever you're not facing. This is this. These are the exact same words. You need to let them hear these words. So that's the way that I read. That's the way that I read. Because it is a spiritual path that is what encourages people, to become developed and become more than who they think they are, or even become more than who they think they want to become. Some people say, "Well, I want like a client. Oh, I want to do this." And then um, when they revert back to the, I guess, a sense of absence in their life, then they start to talk about what they really want. And when they do that, whatever they were claiming that they wanted to do, as like a either a get back, like a retaliation, or like a retribution, or if they just want to do something something outside themselves. They decide it's almost like they talk themselves out of it. It's like they don't want to do it anymore. Like it's lost its luster. Hmm. So anyway, I try to guide people to the place in I guess points in their life where they feel like, oh well, that was my decision to make. Yes, I want them to say that line, but I also want them to say that was my decision to make, and I own it, you know, and I don't need to put that on the psychic. Well, that's what I want to say personally, but I mean I don't need to project that out to anyone in the world. This is what I need for myself to feel fulfilled. Sometimes you just have to say what it is that's on your mind and say it because you need to say it for you, and that's empowering. But I always tell people, I said, yeah, I mean, people, um, you know, are always, I guess, after the gin in me. No, they want the gin and me. They want the gin and me. And I'm not talking about gin, the alcohol. I'm talking about a genie. But we will resist them. We resist them, and they never get the genie. So right now, I mean, it's tough, but we're fending them off, the best we can. But we're definitely not gonna be like acting like we're small children playing basketball, and here you come. No. When you arrive, we're in a tie. We're in the proper jeans. Our pants are pulled up. If we needed a belt, we got the belt on, and we actually have tennis shoes, really nice tennis shoes on, and we have on, shirt, sweater. We're like, bring it on, bring it on. This is not going to be like taking candy from a baby or from a small boy or from a child. No, 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 no. Mm-mm. You're not going to come in here. You're not going to take the lamp and put the genie, the gin back into the lamp. So why? So you can make carnal wishes. I'm looking around like somebody's gonna answer me. No, you made me say what in like every other parallel universe. Every other parallel universe me was looking around for a response. I wasn't me. I wasn't even here for a brief moment. Oh god. Anyway. So yeah, it's good. Uh, it's good to then of course the geometry in that is therefore, yeah, I've got Jin power. Yeah, I got the power of genie, and currently I have the trifold, the Trinity. I had the three mother letters. I, I have the trifecta. In other words, I'm a free our gin. But all that trifold, that triune power. And yeah, and they're already trying the sneaky way to get it. Let's say to get it out away from me. They're trying, yeah, um, yeah. Like it can't be done by force. So yeah, they can't do that. They can't. Well, they try to do the sneaky part. They get ignored, so they can't do it quietly or passively. So they have to get in. They're trying the the be infectious. The infectious. What's the other word that you use? In, the infectious, insufferable. What's the other one? Coy personality. Mm-hmm. That doesn't work because I don't even allow germs. So I'm gonna allow parasite. That's crazy. So yeah. Mm-mm. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so I think I become what do you call it? Isn't it the king of cups? I think that's the my current uh, the card that I'm on. Because sometimes like the cards also they are in itself pathways. Like we become these attributes. So yeah, the way when I read for you all, I always check. Sometimes you all will get like all four suits. Like you'll get all the queens or all the kings. That means something. Or if you get three, that means something. If you get two, wow, then you're 50% of the way. So, but especially if you have three, I can hunt out that final one and find out what that path is. But usually, if you have three, the next cards, like if you have all three, so obviously you have all three of the four suits. The suit that, like, if you don't have the sword yet, maybe like the Queen of Sword, That means instead you'll have the three remaining suits, and then you'll get like the eight of swords, and it'll start explaining how you're becoming the swords. Like swords always, if it's cups, the ones, the coins, it always flow like that. I notice. I pay attention to the patterns. I'm like, wow. So then all I got to do, so well, I always read that, of course, but then I always say, well, now that we got that, we know what's going on. Let's skip all the way to what happens when you achieve this last piece. So I go and I find that suit and I read all of that information. And I said, this is what's going to make you whole in this particular situation. You're almost there, and a new version of yourself will come forward, or a new chapter in a very specific area will happen. So that's, yeah. Anyways, so I'm perfecting the cups. So a little bit of celebration. I'm learning to take the time to celebrate my. Usually, I just keep taking my wins, and I just keep trying to like chase the next one, the next high. I never think of this as a high. Like, oh yeah, I got 5 stars, and I need to bask on them, or wow, it's amazing. I'm working for the top companies. I never take the time to really sit in that space, but I need to start developing. What do you call it? Not developing. Update. Not even updating because it's already up there. Sharing it more. Sorry, because this is already there. It's been there. I just hadn't made it flow through my channels. So now I'm starting to do so, and it feels good, looks good, and I think it's a good thing. So I'm going to keep up with this behavior, this trend, whatever it is that I'm doing. Right now, I call it King of Cups, and I'll keep it going. Um, Also, wow, the channel really is doing a thing. It's doing something. Like there's movement, and I'm very grateful. For the smallest of time. I don't like when people come in and mess up my average though. But I do like when people come in and visit. Um, and I'm telling you, it's going to be so worth it because I'm going to deliver so much more to the channel. Just you wait. And so when you see all these, okay, I got this, I got that, know that I'm studying this because one day I think in my brain, uh, I'm going to have a full, sustainable platform to produce the best services in all of the areas that I'm becoming, I am skilled in, becoming widely accepted. But that I'm working on, becoming widely accepted. And so I'm enjoying chipping away at this every chip of the way, every step of the way, and I'm going to continue on with that particular special journey. I do feel, at least I was notified spiritually that I'm going through a bit of a breaking away, so of something. So it's transmuting into this new thing, and I have to kind of be comfortable with it. Now it's a good thing. It's just I'm keeping an eye, like any responsible person who's an adult, and everything it relies on you. You keep an eye on any the slightest of changes, and so I've been keeping an eye on every little step, every little thing, because yeah, there are some things energetically like phasing into something else, and which causes whatever is left in certain spaces to like look around and check for it. So I have to make sure, like who's stepping up and who's stepping in, and but I do know the importance for this. transmuting of energies. I know why it has to be, and it's happening as clients are shifting, and two of them have well, especially one of them, and have well, two of them are like are like serious progress, but one of them has progressed like fully immersed. So like everybody's in my reading so far is basically more or less manifesting. Of course, as that happens, that means now you starting to understand why I might want to do a really great job with my readings, because yeah, kind of like the doors you never knew that were open to you by simply saying yes, I can do that for you today. You bet I can. How soon do you need it? What if I said, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so busy. And besides, I did like several things for you already. And then that's a one time they said, behind this door, though, is something you need. And so you do it, and you're like, oh, that's why. That's why I did it. Okay. I'm glad I didn't turn it down. So I'm glad I did a great job with these readings. Every every time, the best of my ability. But it's not just doing it out of your heart. You literally have to not make any errors or mistakes. And if you are older and mature and spiritual, you know what I mean. You're not only great at because how how much with spirit that you do it in, but also how accurate and skillfully you do it. You perform the ability, because you could be the highest, the best. Does it? But does that mean that you're going to perform? Even you have to say you have the experience to perform at a high skill level, but is that what your personality gives? Do your personality do you naturally perform at the highest skill level, at an advanced and accurate highest skill level? Even when nobody's looking, no one's listening. Spirit is even looking at that. That when you really mature in the psychic world, you begin to understand that in these critical parts of the test. It isn't just how accurate you are, um, or you did the work. Yay, you did it. Oh wow, you're spiritual. Yes, you get the answers right. Yes, you're celebrated. But okay, but how skillful it was done and how accurate was it? That's the next thing. Especially when you're thinking, so when is this energy that I'm working with, is it going to manifest in my world? Yes. And it manifests in our world, the spiritual person's world, by a grade. Like if you do 60% um, and let's say accurate, or if you did 60% inaccurate, that's 40% of that. You get that means it's going to play out in your spiritual journey, in your psychic journey walk. But like, of course, if you get the highest, if you get 100, you want to definitely get a lot on 100s, right? Because you want 100 of the things to occur in your life, and especially when it's high vibrational things. So, yeah, just like when people say who practice spirituality and they start playing in the mud, some like in muddy energy, they start to realize what's the first thing they complain about. That same stuff, or wrecking masters as well. That energy playing around, playing in their lives now. Energy that they know they didn't start the day with. They attracted it, and they know which one. They know which person they worked on, who who they tapped into, who now they are walking in that journey as well, or is playing out in their reality, uniquely to the spiritualist. Yeah, so that means it's going to affect very personal things, but in your reality. So in the way that you perceive the world. Yeah. Yep. So that's also why I tend to make sure I do everything. I always follow like everything word for word. I'm so strict. When a person contacts me, they try to get me into, like casual conversations and um, convoluted, like what they call it, like um, loaded answers, um, answers that are like neither day or night. Like not make sense at all. Which, if you now when you're truly connected with the psychic world and you speak like that, not only speak like that in your life, but you also read like that as a practitioner, and just as a practitioner, a metaphysical practitioner, speaking like that is is against what a practitioner does. Practitioners speak in very a specific way to manifest things that are real. But you get humans, of course, that want to like if you tell anybody, they're going to use it as a guinea pig and say, okay, well, what if you talk like that now? And they try to get you to talk about it, and then it's like so. What I do is, what people don't know is it's their reading, so they end up speaking like that, and I was like, well, like my client, was like telling me, well, I'm going to go that direction anyway, and like, well, it's always, of course, every bit of the step of the way in this reading, you have free will, you do whatever you like, but just remember, spirit gave me very specific answers, and I relayed it to you. I said, okay, so what's next that we're going to talk about? That quick, they're like shocked. They're like, wait a minute, I was expecting you to like, you didn't care, like, you don't care. Like, no, it's your life, and you deserve to do it what you will. That's why the universe gave us all free will and gave us a life of our very own. You can choose to go that direction. Just know that in my reading, I know you read with a lot of people. They said a lot of things, but in my reading, this is what I said. I said, but doesn't mean that I don't want to see you do well. Doesn't mean that there aren't other, questions I can work with today. Yeah. And then of course it played out, and then they come back and like I wasn't expecting that as like, mm-hmm. You thought you had a genie, the old. You thought you had the genie me of my past life, but you no. I'm I am protected in this lifetime, and I'm very much aware why you're in this conversation, where you are in this conversation in a spiritual sense. I know that you're trying to manipulate the universe, the cosmos, and you're not getting your way today. So, in the nicest way, in the nicest way. Yeah. But anyway, I guess that's how we all grow, though. And I'm still. Uh, Now I do know the result if if this part of me loses. I do know what happens. I know what happens. Um, I but there's other storyline. Like I like to know how, like what is the I know I get like glimpses of myself in that context. Um, but like, okay, how do genies come about? I mean, of course, you can read the stories, to read the books, what they think. But I mean, if you have been one, then maybe that story is locked away, in your universal conscious memories. But anyway, or you know, maybe I conquer one, like you say, as you fulfill. Okay, so the way that cell memory blocks work, they're still supposed to be like these memories locked away. We call them cell memory blocks. But when they break through, which is called the paraclete, um, which can also more kind of be a description of what I refer to as the jinn. But this paraclete, basically, paraclete means Holy Spirit, and it's also Greek. The paraclete is the inner person. This is what people call getting the Holy Ghost. And when you have the Holy Ghost, then you get these sensations of, information of having this, um, this very complex opening channels. Only what people refer to as, being, either uh, in the possessed or taken over by a ghost or the Holy Ghost. Particularly, they refer to deem as the Holy Ghost taken over, as in the Pentecost. Um, but also, it's used to unravel what we call all the little memories that have been sort of quieted and pushed away, pushed way deep down. And oftentimes, it's like what's relevant of today that comes through. But anyways, that's a very interesting topic. These are the types of, by the way, topics that we're going to get, things that I don't talk about in lives, but I'm going to go more deeply into these in memberships. So it's starting to align these days because you remember I am going through a bit of a transmuting, and then I'm finding that information is starting to intertwine. I want it to intertwine now and to become like one string, like you're getting all of it in one string. But anyways, yes, I want to do these more interesting, deeply spiritual and symbolic conversations for membership, and that's where we're going with the channel, by the way. uh, I'm getting there. I'm seeing the hours go up. When I'm soon to get the hours that where I'm gonna say, oh my gosh, I've never had so many hours in my life, and that will be literally, like I'm talking about watch hours, public watch hours, by the way. Yes, my public watch hours are going up significantly. In fact, I'm borderline. I think I've had the watch hours that I have now. And if I told you how many watch hours I'm celebrating right now, you all will start laughing at me. You'll say, "Oh my gosh, we'll never get that information." I don't want to. I don't want to like diminish your hope. So, you know, you might like I. By the time you get there, I probably won't even be interested in this anymore. So I'm just saying, I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I got ways to go, but uh, I don't think anybody will ever get tired of learning about certain spiritual conversations they've never heard of before. That is absolutely amazing. But I'm just joking about it. But yes, I do have quite a bit to share, and um, I think that it'll be favorable where I can figure out a way to also word it for like the layman language as well, but just like people who are, it's not necessarily, it's got to be a, like all out spiritual direction. It could be a philosophy, like something good that you hear for the day, and it just can bring strength for that day. You receive that day, or however long you recall the information. The information, of course, the way that we speak it is very unique and definitive. So affirmations stay. They stay. They permeate the mind and something that becomes involuntary. That's how we want the process to be natural. I'm having this conversation. So I am on the, what's this app called? Let me see. It's called Flip, and it's different from TikTok. TikTok is one thing. Flip is another thing. Well, Flip has this. It's like all the conversations that you would like to find on TikTok, because TikTok is like talent, and Flip, it's like the community that stopped to ask the questions, but then they pose their questions as open, like an open discussion that they call a debate, and basically you can add to the debate. You could be you don't have to like be for it. You could bring nuance. You could bring new understanding, new information. So it's very fascinating the process. So definitely I'm attracted to that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait because like they're asking questions about metaphysics, and they're asking at the age yeah, they're young age, so they're asking at the time when also asking, was reading it about it and asking about it, and I had mentors. So like through all my experiences, and they were asking like questions that when I shared what I was just recently talking about, like okay, yeah, things do uh, attract to you, and it's good to have the mind ready to understand that, and but you can you can you can already like naturally, this could be just the way you think without having to say, oh my gosh, that sounds like a lot of effort. Like going way up into the mountain, and and having to juice. No, that's not what we're talking about. Not at all. This becomes so natural that you don't even, you shouldn't we shouldn't be at a place where we didn't even have to think about it. But it's interesting how life for us for all this time has been playing in loops. Every generation, the same old questions: who am I, and why am I here, and how does this power in me work? The ability to attract the things and visualize and to manifest. How to like there and the ages that people are. This is what fascinated me. The ages are getting younger people. Because okay, I worked with people who are asking this very same question. The reason why I'm flipping out about it, just so you know, guess the age. Yes, people in their late 40s, 50s, 60s, right? People who are like, you know, I might as well just retire, and then after I retire, I can like attract little things, you know, like so, so it's getting younger and younger, and these are serious. These are this is this when they say okay, turn the music down, and everybody sits down, and you turn off all the lights but one, and you have a series of adult questions. This is where and everybody, has already the two people already fist fought in the front yard. They've gone off, gone their own separate way. Um, the woman broke up with the guy, and they made up again already. So they're doing whatever. When you finally make it to the kitchen and that one light's on, and you're coming down because it's a it's a buzz, and you start to that one conversation that you start to this is the serious life conversation, and they're asking it not when they're in their 40s or in like 30s. They're asking much younger, so that means they're coming across these experiences faster, and this time we have it's like we have a chance to get ahead of it before it loops again, before a whole generation lives and thrives and forgets and doesn't pass it down. And then you have people asking again the same question. If it was an important question, why would these same questions revisit us today? And why do the very same question revisit us, but just in different bodies? If it's nothing, if it's pointless, meaningless, if it's not anything special that we should observe. I mean, something observable, as in, I mean, there is a pattern, so there should be something that should be calculatable. We should be able to calculate it in some way. But we are. We're just, what you want to say, calculating it orally, mentally, subconsciously. But we're realizing that, there's like a There's a deja vu. It's like when you look at a person, you're like, I was there once. It's that situation. It's like, oh my gosh. You look back, you say, oh gosh, they still haven't learned yet. Well, did you learn it? No, I was young then. Well, so are they. Let them have their time. And the people we try to like somebody's like trying to give all the answers to them all at once and it doesn't make any sense. It's like you're like from the other side. So, but now it's like the perfect intersection. Not too close, but not too far out. The way that the internet works, the way that the flip is set up, you just drop the video. And, yeah, I'm like, I had that same question. I'm older, but at the same time, actually, this just exists. Is what we found. This is a phenomenal question. So that's the way I approach it. That's what I think. I think the app is amazing, and that it has like its own special something. Um, I didn't see a place where they do live. It's just straight up like uploading. So far as I can tell, just straight up like upload a video and then like link video. So it works very different. Like the layout. It's not even like a Bing. It's nothing like Bing or TikTok. Bing is more closely likened to a TikTok than Flip is to TikTok. So yeah. So that means you can enjoy, therefore, you can enjoy uniquely all three services in their own way because, of course, that there's differences with Bing. Um, yeah, so you can enjoy all three for their unique services and also communities. Okay, um, so hold on, let me see. Okay, I have 9 more minutes. 9 more minutes. Okay. Um, where's my fan? Oh, I did a smart thing. I put it away so I wouldn't break it. Gosh, that fan feels so good. Okay, so basically, um, let me see what conversations where I want to take this. I got to wrap this up. Okay, well, I kind of want to talk about what I intend to do with the channel long run. So, long run, I'm hoping that my YouTube channel will become the platform where I'm just like where all my readings can happen, even to the part where I can have, I don't know if it's a stage necessarily, but I'm hoping that the channel can become that. So that's my goal, anyways. Um, and and then all the other, you know, I guess locate places, whatever, however I choose to incorporate them, but that it all in some way is YouTube, because I think that my YouTube channel can become um, more or less the place where like as I'm wanting to share like my written material, share newsletter, all kinds of things. All course, all stream video. This would be the place. Um, whenever I see my YouTube channel, by the way, I see it as like a website, pretty much a website that where comments become feedback and so forth. So it's like, but I know that okay, there are professional feedbacks, and then there's comments on YouTube. But in my mind, I'm thinking, well, what happens when like you have memberships, and and people really do live like place a comment, but it's a feedback, and that's exactly what they wanted it to be seen as, a feedback. So, but I don't think I'm gonna do the. I've seen people do this, like they'll like do feedback videos or like review videos and so forth, and they try to like, I guess, have them in some kind of like unique space of its own, so you can just like read all. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna to like maybe if it's a comment, something like that. Yeah, it's just be a comment because in my mind I'm thinking, well, there'll be plenty of time where there's lives and also the features where people, well, I allow people to join me in the live sometimes in any way, whether that's a private, whether it's private or membership or however it is, doesn't matter. Just the idea of allowing people to join in a live, that I think that would do it. That would cover the sort of like in real time, whatever it is that they're destined to say someday. They certainly will have that right. But I think this is a great time, to for myself, for myself, um, to present, I guess, the identity of what how I think that the psychic wants to be seen. hmm Yeah. So um, that's why squeaky clean is that clean, fresh look. That's why that's so important to me because yeah, the people that have that I'm connected with, yeah, I wouldn't I don't want you know anything like to come back to them dirty. So nice and clean and fresh. That's as good for me. That will work. And then whomever I'm destined to work with or engage with, meet someday, I'm my goal is that all of that identity others have the opportunity to share, to participate in, that those people incoming will also have that same opportunity. So I'm going to continue to work and grow and perfect in my abilities, keep learning so I can, share. And I'm going to share wonderful information that isn't, um, it's not so much that it's not there, it's not going to be described right. It's not being described right. Um, for example, there's one thing I'm not going. Okay, there's one teaching which is the psychic prophecy. That one is not going to wait until membership. Actually, that one's going to be live. That's going to be this kind of live. So, as an example, but also um, the the membership information is not about psychic prophecies. It's not even about readings necessarily. Um, but it gives you the idea of, okay, well, there's definitely information that you might be aware of, but then it may not have resonated or were not described in the way that you read it correct. Like as you, I want to say, it was described to you correctly. So whenever I share the piece of information that's not for membership, that's going to be public, I'm drawing on information that's not described accurately, let alone perfectly, and it's a, it's going to apply to wonderful areas in life on the world stage. So I'm gonna, but things are still moving into place because I don't just put my psychic predictions out there to say, oh look what I did. I said it first. Look really. No, in fact, I've waited until things are happening simultaneously and then share, or It's happened, and then I share in detail. It's not about, oh yes, I made a prediction. It's not about that um, at all. So I don't even operate that way. Now, when I'm reading with you personally, yes, I have to say things before you, of course, but not something like, I don't need to get a psychic prophecy and need to go yell it at the top of the mountain before you know somebody does something noticeable for the world to see, and then to match it to me in some way. That's not what I do. I don't do that. um, so I natural so as I'm going to do is sit on the information, and then when everything is in place, then I'll start to talk about it, but it'll make perfect sense. And besides, so if it's not about highlighting the fact that the prediction is right, then first of all, what makes it a prophecy? And what this information? What are you talking about? Like? You mean like definitive empirical information? You're gonna use that close, and you'll see, because I can't explain it in so many seconds. It's like what it's gonna 20 seconds, and it'll be 9 o'clock. But it's yes, it will be fascinating though. It's going to be wonderful for all of us to learn. Anyway, it's 9 o'clock, so I'm going to end the live here. And thank you for dropping in, and thank you for all of the time you spent. And I can't wait to calculate um, how much